Are leaders born or made? For decades now, this one question has been a subject of considerable debate, which means plenty of people have given it plenty of thought. After scouring some of the current literature about this, we came to realize that it's a difficult question to answer, in part perhaps because it's the wrong question to ask. Longtime business author and consultant Erica Anderson, for example, suggests that the right answer is both, which is to say, some leaders are born while others are made. It's worth noting that this answer could not exist without having first taken the time to reframe the original question, to change it from "Are leaders born or made?" to "Are leaders born and or made?" Do you see the difference? Unlike the first question, which confines us to choosing one option over the other, this new framing allows for the additional possibility of it being both. This actually is an important leadership concept. It shows that the way you frame a problem can influence how and where you look for the solution. Think about it. When the framing limits the scope of the search, or inadvertently omits certain possibilities, it can inhibit your ability to find the right answer or the best one. This usually comes from having tunnel vision, or myopic thinking, or information silos. Many an enterprise has in fact either stumbled or failed because it was unable to avoid getting locked into a certain train of thought. Reframing is a way to try to break out of it, to gain a fresh perspective and perhaps open the door to new insights. So now that we've reframed our question to include a broader range of possibilities, let's take a closer look at the rationale for Ms. Anderson's response. She says that leadership capability can be represented with a bell curve. At one extreme, you have about 10 to 15% of people who, no matter how hard they try, simply aren't ever going to be very good leaders. They just don't have the necessary wiring. At the other extreme, there's about 10 to 15% of people who are natural-born leaders. Anderson believes these folks start out as good leaders and tend to get even better as they go along. They simply have an inborn ability for assuming leader status. Finally, there's the big middle of the curve, where roughly 70% of people reside. This represents the pool of potential leaders, the ones who are not natural-born leaders but can be made into leaders. They usually start off by showing some evidence of having the it factor, but the it needs to be nurtured and guided before it can blossom. In some cases it will blossom, in others it won't. When it does blossom, these folks can become very good or even great leaders. So what can you do to develop and or sharpen your leadership skills? In part 2, we'll look at what some of the brightest minds in the field have to say about this. The good news for now is that you need not be born a leader to become a leader. Come back for part 2.